Hey everybody, Sean Holsinger here from HolsingersFlyShop.com. Bringing you a cool video today. This is called the Lickety Split Mayfly. Very cool little pattern. I was just stumbling through some YouTube videos and stuff. And this one was by Gilbert Rowley, is where I saw this one before. He did it a long time ago. And I thought that looked pretty cool. I'm going to tie some of these for my box. And I started tying them. And I figured I'd do a video on it if you haven't stumbled across it yourself. I really like the looks of this. You know, it's a great Mayfly silhouette style fly and great generic pattern, which, you know, I love to tie and love to share. This is definitely one you want to tie in different colors. And the other thing about it has a little hot spot on it. The wing case opens up, has a nice little hot spot in the wing case there. So I like that too, and that's why it caught my eye, and I thought I'd share it with you. So enough of me talking here. Let's get into tying it. Here you're going to see it in the vise and the material list to tie it. Alright, here you see the fly in the vise. Really cool Mayfly imitation. Let's get into tying it. For the hook, we're going to put the hook in the vise. I'm using a Firehole 317. This is a size 14. I'm tying it in here for video. Definitely tie it smaller. The bead to match this 14, I'm using a 3.5 millimeter Firehole tungsten bead. Again, go smaller on it. And the lead wire, I'm using 0.015, and I'm going to get about 10 or 12 wraps on there. Tighten up my vise just a hair. Okay, so we got lead wire bead and a hook on there. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to start out with some thread, and I'm going to wrap it right behind the lead there, and then just right over top of it to lock it into place. And I'm going to get back here to the bend. And that's where we're going to stop to put our tail on. Now for the tail, what I'm using for the tail on this is I'm going to use partridge feather. You could definitely use coq de leon, but I'm going to use partridge here because I'm going to use these for the legs. And I'm going to strip off the fluff, and then I'm going to pull back about 4 or 5 on each side. Okay, and then I'm just going to tear those 4 or 5 at the back off. And I'm going to make my tail out of those. So I'm going to have about 8 or 10 of them all together, but that's what we're going to make our tail out of. And I'm just going to hold that on there, get them the length I want, and then wrap them into place. And then I'm just going to trim the ends off and make sure I got a nice smooth body there. Now, next thing we're going to add is a rib to this. To achieve the rib, I'm just going to use some 3-pound monofilament. I'm going to tie it on here. I'm going to go right back to the bend of that tail. And then I'm going to smooth this out. And build up a taper to that lead. I don't want to go too thick here. Don't make it too thick. I just want to make it smooth. You can see there it's nice and smooth. So now we're just going to put this on as a rib. You're not really going to see it. It's going to be more of a profile thing that you're going to see rather than an actual rib. And also, I'm sure like the fish would feel it in its mouth. So then we're just going to wrap that up there to the end, to the top, and cut it off. Okay, now next thing I'm going to do is make the shell back on this fly. And to do that, I'm going to use 2 things. One, I'm going to use some, this is holographic tinsel. This is medium black. And I'm going to put 2 pieces of it on there. And I just dropped my other piece, so I'm going to cut another piece off. Okay, I'm going to put 1 on each side on the top. There we go. And I'm going to go back a good healthy third here. There, like that. Now you see I have one going down each side on the top. That's the way I want that to look. The next thing I'm going to use is a piece of 3mm foam. Okay, and I'm going to cut this about 1/8 of an inch wide. Just about twice as wide as it is thick. Then I'm going to take and I'm going to pull on it and stretch it. And I want to do this gently. And what that'll do is that'll actually cut the thickness down in about half. Okay, so we're just going to thin this out. And then I'm going to cut the ends off a little bit just to trim it down. Make a little not diamond shape, but whatever there. And we're just going to tie that down on top. This is going to make a little hot spot up there. And I want to keep it back from the bead just a little bit to give room to tie my legs in here in a little bit. Like I said, about 1/3. And then I'm going to wrap this forward, pulling it tight. And then we're just going to trim that foam off. I like to trim it off with an X-Acto blade or razor blade. Now we're going to take these black pieces of hollow tinsel. I'm going to wrap them up one on each side. Try not to put too many wraps up here. And then we're just going to cut the tags off. Now you see this gives us our little bit of flash and that nice little green hot spot. Okay, you see I went a little overboard there on that side. If I do that, usually since I do black, I usually just like to hit that with a little bit of black marker just to blend it in like that, you see there. Okay, so I got that where I like it. I'm going to take some Solarez Bone Dry and I'm going to lock this all in place then. I'm going to put a nice thin coat on here. Now, if you don't have Bone Dry, you have like Sally Hansen or something like that, I would do a whole bunch to this step and coat them. Okay, tie it off right here and seal them all in just like that. Now you see I got a nice, just a really nice profile. And now I'm going to add some legs. We're going to go back for the legs. I'm going to go back to that feather I had. That partridge feather. Now this, as you can see, is what I have left. I'm going to pinch the tips and I'm going to pull back on the tips like this. Okay? From there, I'm just going to cut the front end off. Alright, you see I cut the front end off. Now, that's a little more legs than I want. So I'm going to pull out the amount of legs that I want here. I want about that many, about 7 or 8 on each side, okay? So what I have remaining in the back, I'm just going to peel these off. Now the way I like to do the legs is I like to stick these on upside down, what looks like upside down. If I tie it the other way, they tend to go into the body real tight. So I'll tie them upside down so they stand out just a little bit more. And I'm just going to wrap right on that collar I made right there. And then trim these off. And then I just clean up my collar. Try to take those legs, pull them out away from the body a little bit, get them where I like it. And then I'm going to whip finish the head. And just to make it match the rest of the body here, I'm going to hit it with a little bit more bone dry, being really careful not to get it on those legs. And there we go. Put that bone dry on there, cure it. And we're all done. You see I got nice little legs on there. And that hot spot, just a nice cool looking fly. Okay guys, I hope you liked that. Like I said, it was a cool pattern that I thought it fit in, you know, it checked off a bunch of my boxes in silhouette hot spot, and just cool little pattern. So, oh, and that it's a generic style pattern. You know, this is going to imitate a lot of different mayflies just by changing the color. And definitely, definitely, definitely go down in size. I tie it in this video in a 14. I'm going to fish it in a 14, no doubt, but I'm going to fish it a lot smaller too. I just tied it a little bit in 14 for video purpose, just to make it show up a little bit better, but definitely tie it smaller and it's going to catch fish for you. Anyway, I hope you guys like this. I enjoyed bringing them to you. Until next week, guys, head down to our website. Click on one of the links below if you need any of the materials. We really appreciate your business, and I appreciate you watching my videos. If you haven't already, please take the time to subscribe and give me a thumbs up here. So, anyhow, guys, until next week when I bring you another video, I'm Sean Holsinger.